Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
What the? Yes! It's a better day, and we are back at it, coming in to kick tail. What's up, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and of course all you haters. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. We got good news. We got great news. We got fantastic news. We also got bad news. Linda McMahon will not be in studio. Sadly. But she is calling in on Thursday at 5 o'clock. So please make sure that you are here for that program. Thursday, 5 p.m., right here on this program. Linda McMahon's going to call on the phone. We'll talk to her about how she was rejected from a couple of schools here in Connecticut. She will be speaking at Yale. She couldn't make it down here because it's just the time that she has. She's very busy, of course. And so, I don't care. As long as she's calling up and we're going to have her on the program, that's a big deal. And I am very, very grateful and fortunate to get this opportunity. So we'll have any updates on that in the next couple of days. I was hoping she would be here because I was going to have TJ Duarte here to sit and talk with her as well. But, again, her schedule is busy. We're talking about a cabinet secretary. I wouldn't expect her to have that much time as a bunch of things are rolling around in the administration right now. And they got a lot of work to do. So I just want to tell them thank you for the opportunity and thank you, Secretary McMahon, for giving us a shot. Let me see. Oh, I've got Devon Ward. He's going to come in on Thursday, which means we will have Mark from West Hartford here as well on Thursday for that interview. So stay tuned for that. That happens on Thursday. Today, we've got Betsy McCaughey, who's going to be coming on the program roughly about 4 o'clock. She'll be sitting here across from me to talk about her breaking news, which will be in a press conference today. I hope she is not overshadowed by the press conference that happened in Beverly Hills as it relates to Eric Swalwell. We'll get into that a little bit later. There was some breaking news on that last night from Representative Anna Paulina on the Jesse Waters program. If you missed it, we'll lay into some of that today when we talk about Eric Swalwell and, of course, the big story yesterday, his donor who pretty much went public admonishing Eric Swalwell and has denounced the Democrat Party. Told them last night, apparently you can just switch. You can become a Democrat donor and then become a libertarian Republican at the turn of a scandal. He said to the Democrat Party. I will lay it out for you. Yeah, I was just as astonished as anybody. Crazy. Oh, this one I got to get into later on. And I want to thank Morgan Cunningham, our anchor here at WTIC, for giving me wind of this story. If you ever want to see the arrogance of the Democrat supermajority in this state, you are going to hear it today in a press release put out by Democrats that literally was, a middle finger to you, to the Republicans, to the entire state. This is their press release. When I read it, it's going to blow your mind. And you can go look it up yourself. They set it out. There's been no change. They looked at you right in the face and they said, yeah, we're going to have a hearing, but it's going to pass anyway. We'll throw that out there later on today. Trust me, we're gonna get that. By the way, somebody out there, if you know Josh Elliot, tell him to give me a call today. He can come on live on the show. He's making some really serious accusations against the Lamont administration. We'll talk about that. Dan Haar wrote an article about it. That there's, I guess, according to Josh Elliot, there's a degree of extortion happening in the primary on the part of the Lamont administration. If I may, hold on, before I get into it, I just want to say this. I'm patting myself on the back. I'm trying not to break my arm. Wasn't it me who said that the Lamont administration did not think they had this in the bag? All of you said, no, he's got it in the bag. It's a cakewalk. What? What? The administration, according to Josh Elliott, says that they are telling people that they better give the governor their votes because Democrats are not in lockstep with him? Wasn't it I who you guys laughed at and said, no, Reese, it's over? I said, oh, okay. I've done this for too long. I've paid too much attention. I know some of you hate it when I do that, but I'm sorry. I don't care. I told you it was not going to be a cakewalk. It never is. For some odd reason, for something that is supposed to be a cakewalk, gets harder and harder. Why? It's because of what I told you. No one is voting for this garbage. No fair-minded, reasonable person, when they get inside of their house and they look at their bills and they look at the cost of living in this state, is saying, yes, sir, may I have another? I'm just using my common sense. We'll get into it. And by the way, again, Josh Elliott, if you're listening, or anybody else who knows him, tell him to give me a holler. I'll happily take his call at any time if you'd like to expand on this rumor of extortion. We'll talk about it anyway. What else have we got on tap today? Oh, we got J.B. Pritzker. I want to talk about him. He did something despicable and nasty that I cannot seem to understand. But then again, he's a Democrat. We're not supposed to. We got that. Yeah, I think that's it. What else am I going here? Just go through this real quick. Just want to go through my list. Okay, I got that. I got the weird DC. Oh, yes, the DCF thing. I've got new details on DCF you do not want to miss. That part is crazy. Yeah, that DCF thing, wild. And it's wild that this legislature wants to give more power to an organization that literally drops the ball as a part of their model. I'll explain in a bit. So, just go nowhere. What I want our opening monologue to be about today is about something that I was driving home thinking about. And I never take certain claims by people about me personally. And when William Tong said to me that he found my comments about him as it relates to the African American community as deeply offensive, I didn't want to go here. But he left me no choice. And I wish I didn't have to sound petty. But at the risk of doing that, I am. Let me begin kind of in the background to get to where we are now. It is not spoken out loud or in public about the Chinese sentiment for blacks. It is not. It is a conversation no one wants to have. But I've known this for a very long time. And when you bring it up, people in the African American community get a little skittish. They almost defend the bigotry against them by the Chinese. They say you're not supposed to talk about it. And the only reason I can think of is because African Americans really love the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah, I went there. And because the African American community has a strong affinity for kung fu and karate films, they have been wildly supportive of people like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, John Woo. They have. And to accept the idea that there is colorism in Chinese communities that is anti-black makes them uncomfortable. But it is a fact. And the stats bear this out. For whatever reason, it is true. Don't take my word for it. Take your lazy behind out and do the research. It is evident everywhere. And here's where it gets crazy, folks. Unlike in white circles of radical, separatist, segregationist, white supremacy areas where they hide it, in China, they are very, very public with their views of Africans and African Americans alike. They view them as lazy, low IQ, violent, and criminal. This is not a subculture in China. This is blatant and outspoken. Don't even look me side-eyed. There isn't a Chinese person who can come forward and tell me that I'm lying. I dare them. They think that it might be smearing them? Good. Come at me. You know I've done the research. I have a reputation of having that information. It's widespread. It is cultural. And it is undeniable. So when I said what I said about William Tong, about his feelings about the African-American community, I did the research. And I'd like to ask groups like the NAACP and Black Lives Matter, 860 or 420 or 112. I don't care who you are. I want to know where William Tong was standing in solidarity with you. Where was his office on violence, discrimination, or anything for that matter against the African-American community? We looked it up. We found platitudes, statements. When it truly came to African-Americans and their struggles, real struggles, like, let's say, wrongful death, rape even, by powers that be, in the correctional facility. How did they treat? How did William Tong treat those African Americans? Would you consider him in solidarity with black folks? No. Upon the research, what we found was quite troubling. Let me see here. Where is here it is. Tong's public record defending black communities. Yes, folks, there is a record, or lack thereof. The Chef versus O'Neill School desegregation case. This is Tong's biggest talking point. As AG, he helped broker the 2022 settlement in the long-running lawsuit over Harvard's racial imbalance schools. The case stemmed from a 1996 Connecticut Supreme Court ruling that Hartford kids heavily black and Hispanic suffered from de facto segregation. Tong and Governor Lamont announced the deal expanding magnet schools, school choice and funding up to $32 million annually by 2032. Tong calls it a major win for urban communities and social justice. But we just learned recently that Hartford Public Schools hired a Tennessee firm, $935 per student, to be pulled back into the Hartford public school system, violating Chef versus O'Neill. Where was William Tong on this? Has he released a statement? Has he called this abhorrent? No. He said nothing. He's had no interest at all. On any other statements invoking African Americans, in 2023, after the Supreme Court ended race-conscious college admissions, Tong said the 14th Amendment was written to bring justice to black Americans after centuries of brutal slavery. It remains a bulwark against discrimination. In 2024, he pushed for a national ban on, I cannot believe I'm about to say this. Again, these are major Tong initiatives that have dealt with African Americans. In 2024, the last one was 2023. William Tong pushed for a national ban on menthol cigarettes, specifically citing harm to the black community. And George Floyd. His office echoed racial justice language and supported police accountability bills. That's it. That's it. No, I mean, that's it. Nothing else. That's William Tong's record with African Americans. Newports. Cool Filter Kings. What a civil rights icon. Black folks, do you feel like there's justice being served by the Attorney General? Do you? Because I don't. It's funny. Remember me, Uncle Tom, step and fetch it, sell out? Ah, remember? That's what you called me. And here you are, two major cases. Huh? Here are the two major cases you guys should be getting justice on, and you're getting nothing. You're getting holdouts by the Tong administration. Holdouts. Got a black woman raped by corrections officers. She gets moved all the way to Delaware. Thank God she's back. And you got J. Allen Jones, killed in custody, didn't deserve to die. Coroner ruled it a homicide. Tape was supposed to be released last year, Thanksgiving. We're already in April. Still nothing. And the man refused to answer to it. And what did he give me? He didn't like what Reese said about him and the African-American community. Hell, after the court hearing, back when I hadn't even moved here yet, Corey Betts of the NAACP left the courtroom fighting for the release of the J. Allen Jones murder tape, and then went and took a cushy photo with William Tong. Wild. I'm stunned. When we come back, we'll get to the roots of what I'm talking about. We'll get to the hardcore roots. The undeniable truth about William Tong having no time for African Americans outside of menthol cigarettes. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the Radio right here on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I have a programming note. This is important because some things have changed, and we didn't say anything about it yesterday because this is part of what I was upset about because we had to make these changes. But I'm glad that we did, and I want to thank the folks here at WTIC and Odyssey all together who put this together. So we got a change of something that was supposed to happen on the 30th, but now has been moved to April 7th. We'll talk about it for the rest of the show. May 7th. Why say April 7th? May 7th. Thank you. May 7th. And talking too fast. That's my problem. Move to May 7th. We have to talk about this, and this is the gubernatorial debate that we talked about for April 30th. Now May 7th. We had to move it because there is a session in the legislature on the 30th that Ryan Fazio was concerned he wouldn't be able to make the debate because it can go on well into midnight. He didn't want to do that, so they contacted me and said we needed to change it, so we had to do a whole bunch of maneuvering, and we finally did. So now we are ready to announce Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment was, thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican. a political rule established in the 1960s to foster party unity by discouraging public infighting. Well, WTIC NewsTalk 1080 will host the 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate with candidates vying for the Republican nomination on May 7th. The new date is May 7th at 7 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. at the private event room at Stadium 15 in Farmington. The debate will be live on air, but if you'd like to be in the audience, you can enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets at the WTIC.com website. That's WTIC.com. Click on More, then Contest. 60 winners will win a pair of tickets, and WTIC News Talk 1080 will then have, and you will attend, the 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate, which is sponsored by AARP Connecticut. Again, sponsored by AARP Connecticut. And I want to thank everybody for moving so fast. Janine deserves all the credit. She does. She deserves all the credit. And I'm giving it to her because I threw her a curveball. I didn't. It wasn't even my fault. But I still feel like it's my fault. But, yeah, we that's going to be remedied. So make sure you go to WTIC.com if you want to be in the audience. You'll be there. I'll be there. Brian Shackman will be there. Morgan Cunningham will be there. Joey will be there. You will be there. Betsy McCaughey will be there. Ryan Fazio will be there. And I saw Ryan Fazio posted he wants to have 5 more debates on other. Hey, do your thing, buddy. Just invite me. Just invite me. I want to be there. And we'll talk about the whole politics thing in a little bit. If you're just joining us, always go to WTIC.com or download the Odyssey app so you can check out the show and rewind it from the beginning. Now, again, I don't do this because I wish to be mean-spirited to William Tong. I don't. I said this, and I still mean it to this day, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for listening, Attorney General. You're a big deal. You command national attention. Every time you file a lawsuit against the President of the United States, the cameras come a-running. When you hold a press conference about some frivolous lawsuit, protecting illegals in the state, God bless you. But what you are doing to the son of J. Allen Jones and the mother of his son and his family, Jessica Jones, is absolutely abhorrent. You have no problem spending taxpayer dollars on your lawsuits against the President of the United States and getting all the political capital from it. But you are damn sure going to tell the rest of us that you have got to protect our taxpayer dollars against what the coroner is referring to as a homicide as it relates to J. Allen Jones. You will not release that video. You are keeping that video from the public. A woman is raped in jail, and she is treated like a person who instigated her assault. In the atmosphere of Jeffrey Epstein and Eric Swalwell, you guys transported that woman to Delaware, away from the only family she had. And no one's supposed to take notice of that? And you are now supposed to tell us that you've got a long history of supporting the African-American community with banning menthol cigarettes and supporting Chef versus O'Neill, when it's being violated, you've said nothing? You support the measure that is supposed to get kids in the inner city, black and brown kids, to better schools. Now it's being violated by the very public schools who failed them to bring them back to the failing public schools, and you've said nothing. You found an opportunity to get in front of the camera for everything else, but not this. We haven't even heard from the governor on this one. The capital city, re-election time. This is going on with failing public school proficiency rates. The governor of this state hired Miguel Cardona back into the fold. As Mark in West Hartford said, rightfully so, dumpster diving. And And I'm not supposed to call out when you are, I would say, disrespecting and discounting, showing no respect for the minority community known as African Americans. You put all of your weight, and this state has put all of their weight behind illegals. And we can't see any of you. You haven't spoken up about anything. We had 2 black girls at Cromwell High School. What happened with them? Huh? Spat on, called the N-word, racially disrespected. None of you showed. None of you. Couldn't get NAACP or Black Lives Matter 860. Nobody stepped up for those black girls. Some guy says there's a noose at the bus station. You all go a running. Somebody says there's a noose at Rom High School. Y'all all go a running. What happened? What happened to the end of those stories? Nothing. You guys found your focus. Apparently, the only minorities that are cared about in the state of Connecticut are Hispanic ones. And maybe an Afghan here or there. Because you guys all showed up. The governor of the state showed up at a press conference about a 19-year-old high school senior who was detained based upon a filing error by DHS. Yeah, that's what it was. Remember that? Remember the press conference they held at City Hall about the Afghani 19-year-old? His father was picked up in 2025, then released. Then the kid was picked up, turned out filing error. Right? Nobody said anything. No follow-up stories. But the governor, the attorney general, and a senator showed up at that press conference. J. Allen Jones got no such review. Not one person has stepped up and said, hey, man, let's release that video. And the reason why they haven't is because, of course, the people who are supposed to be making the most noise about this, who the press seems to just show up whenever these guys just make a phone call, haven't even spoken up about them. Jessica Jones, I feel absolutely horrible for you. I feel the greatest sadness for you. That the only person who cares about you getting justice for your son's death is the person that the African American community calls a sellout, Uncle Tom Coon. I am so sorry for you. I'm sorry that when it is important and relevant for black people to stand up, they will sooner block traffic for a drugged-out counterfeiter 1,200 miles away and did nothing for your son right here in their own backyard. And then tell me that I'm wrong for bringing it up. Everybody now wants to ride on my coattails. Now everybody recognizes that I have a voice. Everybody recognizes now that the show has relevance. Now, all of a sudden, people are like, oh, maybe we should jump on board. Don't join. Don't need you. Never did. Didn't ask you to. And when I did ask, you refused. You wouldn't take my phone calls, never returned any. Didn't return any emails. Don't need you. Don't want you. I am not doing this for your support. Don't need it. I have everything that I need here. So when I say I'm going to get something done, I'm going to get something done, and it'll be without you. So Jessica Jones, I will do my best to get your son justice. I will use this platform and this echo chamber to get these people to respond. And I will keep bringing it home until that video is released to the public. And I don't care how mad they get. Because remember, and this is something you have to realize, every bit of the retaliation that comes from the powers that be in this state about what I am doing is going to reveal exactly what I am saying now. They don't want to be held accountable. and they will do whatever they can in their power, ever they can within their power, to shut it down, because they're cowards. And I say bring it on, because everyone's going to know, and everyone's going to reveal it. Every move you make will be scrutinized from now on. So you better run and hide, or you better come swinging. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Sorry about that. I got a whole bunch of things that I'm doing over here. I'm just trying to figure out some stuff that here. I couldn't find this thing. I was being asked to find this audio clip, and I just couldn't find it. And then, I don't know why, but I did. Let me see.
Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure I had that. I gotta get that. Anyway, not bad. All right, baby boy. I love that. Roland's giving me some inside baseball numbers on the show, and thank you. Yeah, it does. Remember, I told everybody, I said, go online because it's important. We have like a quiet sort of rivalry that is going on here, even though Brian Shackman doesn't know anything about it. And we were really, really like in the low numbers of downloads. And I don't even think we were at 1,000 a couple of months back when the show was getting into its groove. And it really wasn't anything to mention. And we went from about 800 to what over 36? Is that the number? About 3,600 unique listeners now from 800. So I want to thank you guys for checking out the show. And for supporting Reese on the Radio. You guys will know that when you meet me, I always say that. Thank you for your support. That's what you're doing. When you dedicate time to this show, that's what you're doing. You're supporting it. I don't like the term fans. When people go like, well, you're fans. I'm like, don't call them that. I have far more respect for them than fandom. Because they listen for a reason, and there's a purpose behind what they do, and that means a lot to me. Bob says, like Senator Murphy to Tong, the illegals are the most important citizens of Connecticut. I agree with that. And I'll go so far as to say this. You know, I did some other background. And look, it's a cultural thing you're not supposed to talk about. Okay? And if you were to ask anybody in the civil rights community what they say about African Americans versus what they say about African Americans as it relates to white folks, they will tell you time in and time out that white people feel this way about blacks, that white people think this about blacks. Well, according to the information, and I have it right here, this is, what's it? Chinese people hold more unfavorable baseline view of black people than white Americans do today. Okay, according to a 2016 Gallup poll, it found that 30% of Chinese agreed some races are superior than others. In the U.S., explicit endorsement of white racial superiority is way below that. Most white Americans reject overt racial hierarchy in surveys. But here's where it gets real, the data says. In China, almost no black population and heavy internet censorship. Online discourse shows raw negativity. One large study of 90,000 comments. Around 80% of race-related posts were negative, calling blacks violent, lazy, low IQ, or race-polluting. Unfiltered prejudice in society where most people have never met a black person. We're talking about people who have never met them. This is what they view. White Americans' attitudes have shifted since the 90s. Far fewer now openly say blacks are less intelligent or hardworking. And majorities acknowledge systemic racism against black. Explicit bias has dropped, but not in Asian communities. I'm sorry. You don't have to be mad at me, but in a world where everybody says that racial justice is the most important thing, well, here are the numbers. You're not supposed to bring it up? You're not supposed to talk about it? This is where everybody's saying, take a pause. Here's where everybody is now going, no, you may be going too far. Really? Are we talking about the same community that yelled at Darius Rucker, the black man from Hootie and the Blowfish, for singing I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas? Are we talking about the same people? Spare me that nonsense. Let's call it like it is. You don't like it? Too bad. I didn't write the talking points. They're there. And I'll go one step further. It shows up culturally, too. I was looking at why movies are never sold to China. I looked at those numbers, too. It's crazy. Do you know the only black actor in China who actually does well with their films is Will Smith? And they cite because he has a big intellectual property. But guess what? His films do paltry numbers. Men in Black 3 was his largest film in 2012, 77 million. Black Panther did 66 million in China. Black Panther. But the only reason why people go sue it because it was part of a long arc in the Marvel films. Black Panther 2, it did 12 million. Funny how that works. Like I said, take it up with the data, not with me. Let's get to some news. John Silva's coming up. He's in the WTIC newsroom. I'm Reese on the radio. When we return, we'll talk a little bit about Josh Elliot and the accusations he's levying towards the Lamont campaign and much, much more when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio, and there's always a critic in the room. Thank you, Bob. It's too bad that you think that what I said was harsh. You know, these so-called trolls, as they are, on the left, you know, these people who clearly do nothing but go on the internet and change their profiles and go on other people's pages and moan. They witch and moan. You know the word I'm trying to say. They witch and moan on everybody else's page about their outrage, but they do nothing. There's no sweat equity. They don't do anything. They don't protest. They don't march. They don't spend any money. They think that they're actually doing something by witching and moaning. And nobody's listening to that. Don't ever test my record. I'm out on the street, brother. I'm out on the street. I'm out on the street more than these so-called civil rightsers. And I don't even get funded for that. Ain't nobody throwing any money in my pocket to be out on the street. I do that on my own dime. I'm out here fighting for that black man and that black woman, and you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing but complaining online from the comfort of your little soft chair behind the computer or your cell phone. Don't question me. As I said to him, that's right. I'm out here fighting for the release of a video of the murder of a black man. You've done nothing. I'm also fighting for the lawsuit of a black woman assaulted in jail. You've done nothing there either. My track record on helping blacks is far better than yours. You're a keyboard warrior for blacks. I'm getting in the faces of powerful people. Show me my respect. Show me my respect. I'm doing your job for you in real time. But because you're so addicted to complaining, you could never show me my respect because I'm showing you up. I'm exposing your fecklessness. I'm exposing your lazy, your lack of hustle, your lack of wanting to do a thing. You just want to complain. I want results. So don't concern yourself with me. Go out there and do something. Prove to the rest of us that I'm wrong. Or join in. You can help a brother. You've done nothing. Still complaining at me. I'm doing the work and you're still complaining. I don't get it. You're not my supervisor, brother. You're not. And if you're a troll, just say that. Aside from that, just listen and enjoy. Here's the thing. Remember who you're listening to. The person who's actually doing the work. That's all. And you know it. You can't deny it. That's all. With that being said, let me get to my thing here. Where is it? This is, okay, that's the story I got to get to later. I love that story. That's that $500 million, $550 million they stole. Okay, I'm sorry. They said you're not supposed to call it stealing. Misappropriated or put in different places. I don't know. That's what they did with it, but that's where it is. Josh Elliot. Where is this? Here it is. Right. Dan Haar. I found it. Dan Haar's column dropped yesterday. It said, in Ned Lamont battle against Josh Elliot, a staff change and an accusation. They say State Representative Josh Elliot of Hamden, a progressive firebrand, is running a serious primary against incumbent Ned Lamont for the 2026 Democratic nomination. Elliot needs just 15% of the delegates, that's 300 out of 2,000, at the May 16th Democratic Convention in Hartford to force a real primary on August 11th. He's hitting 100-plus town Democrat committees raising money for public financing and says he's in it to win it, as he said here. The accusation is that Elliot sent a letter to Democrats and went public claiming that Lamont's team, not Governor Lamont himself, but his team, is making one-on-one calls to town committee chairs and delegates. The alleged threats are they're going to cut town funding, kill bonding projects, and threaten jobs. Elliot's exact words are, quote, the governor's team is making calls, threatening jobs, threatening to cut town funding, threatening to kill bonding projects. If you thought Lamont was a nice guy, I'd ask you, is that nice? Is that the kind of politics you want to see from someone asking for your vote? Elliot calls it desperate because they know they're losing the fight to keep him off the ballot. Now, again, as I said to you a long time ago, who said it was a shoo-in? Was it you? Was it you? I think it was you. Yes, you were saying that. And I said this months ago. Nobody wanted to believe me. My good friend Donald said, no, that's not true. Where you at now, Donald? Where you at now? First campaign, $18 million. Next campaign, $26 million. Now, according to Josh Elliott, fear tactics? Huh? Fear tactics? He's got a Democrat rival? Find that odd. Elliot won't name names specific to town or exact staffers. And they say that that's convenient because then he doesn't, he's not being held to he's not held to any standard for that. But he is using the power of the governor's office in order to get traction of the story. Now, he could be straight up BSing by not naming names. But if I was Josh Elliott, I would. I would name names because I think the people in Connecticut need to know that that's happening. That the governor's office feels vulnerable. And they should. Because what's happening in the state is on their watch and through their leadership. They had 2 chances to turn it around in the state, and they have a record that must be exposed. If anything, investigated. And it must be hashed out. Early last year, mid last year, we're looking at a governor who had an astonishing 63% approval rating. And then out of nowhere, down to 49%. Out of nowhere. And the crazy part is no one in the media found that puzzling, strange, even noteworthy. They were just celebrating the man as the 4th popular governor in the country. Remember that? I reported it here. And everyone, all of you who are online, you were in my chat room, and you said the same thing. That's bull. There's no way that's true. And now we get the new numbers at 49%. And not a peep. No words, no nothing. It's strange. Now, I will tell you off the bat, if you ask some folks quietly, you know what they say? And they say it. And people, and the reason why I can't tell you, because this is it. And I talk to them face to face. They all do the same thing. Before they tell what they really want to say, they go, "Are you recording me right now?" I'm like, "No, I'm not recording you right now." And then they want to speak freely. "Yeah, I don't think he's doing well." "Oh, word? Okay." Yeah, he's not looking good. Other people will say, the first thing they say, "You're not recording me, right?" No, I'm not recording. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. "Oh, really? Okay. Why won't you folks go on the record?" And listen, folks, these are members of the news media. They are. I am not chummy with these people. But I think they see a black eye and they think that they can tell. It's like, then they find out who I am. And they just go, "You're not recording, right? You're not recording." I'm not that guy. I don't secretly record. Look, leave that to James O'Keefe, okay? Project Veritas, they do that. I'm not doing that. I want you to be as honest as you can. I want you on the record, but if you're not going to give me on the record, that's fine. But I'm not making it up. The media knows he's struggling. Some people don't know why he's running again. He should have never done it. They were waiting for someone else to step up. They thought it was TONG. Now, again, I'll say this, and I say this boldly. Any one of you in the news media who is listening to me right now, because I know you do, tell me I'm lying. Huh? You are all shaking your head right now. Yep, he's telling the truth. And you know it. You thought it was TONG. You thought the reason why Lamont waited so long was because TONG was going to announce. And he didn't, and Lamont did. And you all shook your head and went, "What? Why? He should just go home. He's got a beautiful life. Just go home. Why is he doing it again?" And now that he's doing it, and they see what he's doing, like how far left can you go? He's in New Haven saying, "I'm a progressive leftist." Sure, Oakley Dokley. Out of nowhere, the guy went from, "I'm in the middle, I'm all by myself," to, "How far to the left can I go? How much money can I spend? What ridiculous special interest can I throw money at? Sure, I'm going to raise taxes on the rich." What happened? But here he is. He's struggling. And Josh Elliott is sort of giving it. And I told him when he was here, if he really wants to win, like if he's serious, he's got to go scorched earth. If he at least wants to be the nominee, he's got to. Now, I know why Democrats have not, because they do. Trust me when I tell you they want to. The reason why they have not supported Josh Elliott is because they know what comes if indeed he were to win. One, Exodus. Oh, man. And it ain't going to sound as pretty as a Bob Marley song. Exodus out of the state. And the other part, he'll lose. No matter who the Republican candidate is, he'll lose. Josh Elliott will probably go full Mamdani, as I asked him before. Remember that? My phone interview with him? Are you waiting until Mamdani wins before you go full Mamdani? Yeah, we'll see. And that's exactly who he's going to be. And he isn't shy about it. It's quite explicit. I'm going to tax everybody in here. We're going to give money to anything. We are going to take care of the poor. He's probably going to figure it out where the poor in this country will at least get the amount of money that the homeless do in New York City. What was it, upwards of $84,000 per homeless person? Yeah. Yeah. So we'll watch it. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how far it gets. That's going to be crazy. Later on, I want to get into this DCF thing. So I got this I had a conversation yesterday. And I didn't know this about DCF. But apparently they can close the books on a case and hand it off. Now, I think someone called the show that deals with DCF, and I want to say, forgive me, I want to say it's Sean in Meriden. I feel like it is. Sean, and if I'm wrong, if I'm attributing this to you incorrectly, please call me up and set me straight. But I'm almost positive it was Sean in Meriden. And he hadn't called in a while, but I remember him saying something to this effect. And that was DCF has a group, a bunch of sort of, subsidiaries, right, where it's a service that they provide to the family in need. Okay, to give you the breakdown. It sort of goes like this. DCF is called, a file is created, the family is contacted. If the family needs a particular service, DCF doesn't provide that. It's farmed out to this particular group. When that group takes over, the DCF file is closed. Now, I've got a theory if this is true, and everything I've looked up seems to align with this. By the way, if you're a member of one of these outsourced groups, I need to hear from you at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Because according to this information, DCF has an off-ramp with the family. And if you're paying attention to that, you know exactly what this means. That whatever's being done in the legislature about this homeschooling bill, this is almost a ridiculous bill in the current structure of DCF. Because I truly don't believe they do anything, which then also leads me to believe why we've had so many deaths when it comes to children who have DCF files. And it also brings up this question about why we're not overhauling DCF as a organization. So like I said, if you're one of those people in those offshoots, give me a call. Is that Lori on the line in Glastonbury? You know what? I got time for her. Let me get Lori on the line. Hey, Lori, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay. I'm an organization that works. I work for a program that DCF contracts, but
okay.
I have never heard of books being closed just because a family is working with us. I know for my agency that's not how it works. I think the confusion might come when they're involved in a reunification program, but even if the family is in a reunification program, the books aren't closed until like 6 months after the kids are reunified.
Okay. So here's what I found out from a teacher who filed the DCF case. Okay? According to the story, it starts with a kid that missed 30 days of school. Now, again, there are other tiers of this investigation when it's involving DCF. If it's a physical, sexual, or dangerous situation, usually DCF deals with that hands-on from beginning to end. There is no farm out. But when it's something like truancy, kid not going to school, especially if they're an older teenager, DCF will treat that like a DEFCON 5 as opposed to a DEFCON 1 and then farm that out to one of these groups. In this particular case, the teacher's telling me about, they're saying that the kid was gone for 30 days. DCF contacted the family, connected the family with this farm out group, and then once the farm out group got contact with the family, DCF closed the book. But DCF had to be called again because the kid ended up missing another 30 days.
Jeez, okay.
And then they found out, that's how the teacher found out that the original book had been closed on this student.
Okay. I'm not familiar with anything like that. My agency is usually called when there's cases of neglect or abuse.
Right.
And so that's when my agency comes into play, but I don't know anything about truancy.
Interesting. Okay. Like I said, what I'm hearing about this, and these cases of, all of them count as child neglect, but it turns out that many of these cases DCF wants on and off their docket. And what they do is farm it out to this organization, whoever they may be, because there are several different ones. But once that organization reaches contact, they have first contact with the family, DCF is going, okay, they're in good hands, we moved on.
Okay, then you know things that I don't know.
Okay.
So I will take it I will leave it to you then.
Okay. All right, thank you, Lori. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
You got it. So that's what I'm going through here. And I'll run by all of this that I was able to find out based upon this particular story in a moment. So stand by for that. Also, in the news, I got to talk about what J.B. Pritzker is doing as it relates to HIV. And those of you who are still angry about COVID, you are not going to be happy about this. That's not even happening here, but it's still going to make you mad. It's still going to make you mad. And it made me mad when I heard it. I was like, what? So it made me mad for the city of, for the state of Illinois. But we'll talk about that also when we get back. All right. That is about it. Oh, and what was the other thing that of course, we'll talk about the Eric Swalwell fallout in the new press sort of presser of this woman who is now alleging that Eric Swalwell drugged her before he assaulted her. We'll talk about that and much, much more. Plus, we've got the donor. We got audio on him who threw Eric Swalwell out of his house. And that's a hairy situation. We got all that and much, much more when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
So the Democrats put out an email of a presser. And it went like this. Tuesday, Senators Looney, Duff, and Winfield preview Senate passage of ICE bill. That's what the headline read. And then they sent a second email. And that said, today, listen closely, today, Senate Democrats will pass bill reining in ICE abuses in Connecticut. Sue ICE agents in federal court, ban masks, give AG and IG broad new powers. Bill also addresses responsible use of license plate readers. The Senate will pass a bill. If that's not arrogant, I don't know what is. They know that this is going to be sort of hashed out. But they wrote this press release, knowing we can't be stopped. We're not going to be stopped. Absolutely. Democratic state senators today will debate and pass Senate Bill 397, an act concerning democracy and government accountability that could help reduce in Connecticut some of the horrific human rights and constitutional abuses already committed by the federal immigration and customs enforcement agents in multiple cities and across America. In May 2025, Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem ordered ICE to arrest up to 3,000 immigrants every day. Since then, rogue federal ICE agents have mounted an unprecedented national fear campaign of attacks on American citizens, including murder, kidnappings, assaults, violations of constitutional rights, and vilification of all immigrants, and the politicized enforcement of the law. Briefly, SB 397 creates a much-needed cause for action to sue federal officials that violate our constitutional rights, bans masks for federal, state, and local law enforcement, with some exceptions, gives Connecticut residents the best chance to convict federal officers who commit crimes by clarifying, expanding, and strengthening the authority of our state inspector general, empowers Connecticut through the attorney. I just read through that. Sorry. This thing is like so small printed. Anyway, the state inspector general empowers Connecticut through the attorney general and the IG to seek emergency injunctions against federal law enforcement that violate persons' right or obstruct an investigation. Prohibits ICE agents for civil offenses in sensitive areas like schools, hospitals, and places of worship, and ensures that lightly trained ICE agents do not become police officers in Connecticut. They're supposed to review this, but they say, we'll argue it, but then we will pass it. That is the arrogance of a supermajority. That's their arrogance. It's like, what are you going to do about it? We're going to stop it. Well, how will they stop it? Well, that's easy. And I'm so happy to report that the federal government has already stepped in. Now, I don't know if they were paying attention to Senate, to the state senators. I have no idea whether or not they were. But here we are. As you heard at the top of the hour from John Silva, the Trump administration and the Justice Department are suing the entire state of Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont, Attorney General William Tong, and the city of New Haven, and Justin Elliker, the mayor. The charge, their so-called sanctuary policies are illegal and openly defy federal immigration law. They're putting American citizens at risk by shielding criminal illegal immigrants. Yeah. Connecticut's Trust Act is the focus. Passed in 2013, expanded in 2019. State and local cops cannot hold someone just because ICE puts a detainer on them, unless it is a super serious A or B felony, including murder, rape, robbery, etc. They're on the terrorist watch list, or ICE brings a full judicial warrant, no detainer. If there's no detainer, they let that person walk out the door after the local charge is done. New Haven's 2020 Welcoming City executive order, signed by Justin Elliker, says city employees are banned from asking about the immigration status, ban them from sharing info, and banned from using any city resources to help ICE, even on detainers or administrative warrants, unless the judge forces them. It literally tells cops, don't cooperate with the federal immigration enforcement. The DOJ says that they have the Supremacy Clause, which is Article 7 of the Constitution, which means federal immigration law is supreme. 8 U.S.C. 1373 explicitly prohibits states and cities from restricting information sharing with federal agents about someone's immigration status. These policies directly violate that. They also block ICE from doing its jobs, force federal agents to chase criminals on the street instead of picking them up in jail, and put officers and the public in danger. DOJ calls it an open defiance of federal law. Since the Trust Act kicked in hard, Connecticut has honored less than 20% of ICE detainers. DOJ cites cases where illegal aliens convicted of sex assaults on kids, burglaries were released back into the Connecticut neighborhoods and reoffended. One example of this complaint, a guy who sexually assaulted 2 children was let go because of the Trust Act. ICE had to hunt them down in the community later. A.G. Tong's statement on this lawsuit says that it is baseless. He would know. He says that the lawsuit claims the Trust Act prioritized public safety and ensures that there's trust in law enforcement. That's the way he feels about the Trust Act. That's a classic sanctuary spin. The translation means that it protects illegal immigrants from deportation more than it protects Connecticut families from repeat criminal offenders. Public safety, well, tell that to the victims of criminal family Tell that to the victims of these criminals who have been affected by all of these sanctuary policies. According to this, they believe that Donald Trump is going to win this case, or at least the DOJ will, and they'll be forced to adhere to the federal law, which is, again, I'm still trying to figure this out. Like, why would they think that they're just going to pass a law that is going to, like, who's going to enforce that? Here's what I want to know. Just so I can understand from Senate Democrats. I need to understand this. how are you going to enforce this bill on ICE agents? How are you going to do it? I need this understood. Because I will tell you, and I'm doing a dream scenario here. This is my dream sequence. So, an ICE agent violates this new rule. And you send New Haven police to the ICE agent's home to arrest him and charge him. Is that what's going to happen? Let's go one step further. Hartford police, where it stands right now, you are going to ask a Hartford police officer to go down to the house of an ICE agent living in Hartford proper and ask the Hartford Police Department to arrest said ICE agent for violating the new state law. Who can imagine what that's going to look like? I see a scenario where the police department has to issue a warrant to pick up an ICE agent in Hartford, and the police officer says, you must be out your gosh darn mind. You think I'm going to go down there and I'm going to go arrest a fellow officer? Do you think I'm going to enforce? You better send the mayor. You better send the mayor and his detail. They would sooner. Mayor Arunin would sooner pick up that ICE agent before an Hartford police officer does it. I don't know how they do it in New Haven. Maybe they just really, really love Justin Elliker and they'll do anything that they say. But I don't believe that either. I really want to see a world where politicians separate law enforcement and turn them against one another. I really want to see that. I want to see the badge look at each other and go, yeah, we're going to have to take you downtown. Please, please pass this bill. Please do it. Hurry up. In fact, I applaud your arrogance. Please pass it. Pass it with flying colors. I really want to see how you're going to enforce it. And I hope the Trump administration is listening to this and this news story, and he turns around and tells Stephen Miller and tells Mark Wayne Mullen, send up the troops to Connecticut. I'm hoping that happens. I want to see Bob Larson and Martin Looney and all of them screaming into the microphones. This is an invasion! And we'll sit idly by and we'll applaud. Go get him, boss! Go get him. Oh, I'm loving it. I think these people are dumb. I know they are. I really, really want to see how stupid these people are. I love seeing it on display, but please work it out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. We got to take a break? Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Eric Swalwell deal, and then we'll talk about his donor. Oh, that's an ugly story. We'll talk about that as well. And a bunch of national news coming up. So stand by. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
That's weird. Okay. Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio. News Talk 1080 WTIC. Weather and traffic is coming up soon. We've got Betsy McCaughey. I think she's calling on the phone at 4 o'clock. Unfortunately, she won't be here. I don't know. This isn't – Adam, don't take this personally. It's not you, buddy. I just got to tell you, folks, with all due respect, I hate phone calls. I mean, it was different when I was in Texas. It was, and I understood, of course, because I'm all the way out there. But I do in-person interviews, phone calls. That stuff is for people who are out of town. If you're here in the state, I'd like people who are here. That, I'll even give a pass to, the Linda McMahon thing, because she's moving and she's shaking. But yeah, I get it. But if you're in town and you're close by, it's just a thing that I like having you physically in here, because it's one, I can talk to you, I can look at you, and it's a focused conversation between the two of us. So I don't really get out of sorts or bent out of shape about it, but it's just something I do. I think usually if they can't make it in, come in when you can. All right. And that's, it's just the way I do it. It's a personal thing. I know it's a pet peeve, but I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it. I hope you guys understand. That's just the way I do things. Bob J was saying something about the fact that I use the word Negro. What are you, new here? That's my favorite word. and it doesn't, and I don't care whether or not you're black, Asian, white, Lithuanian. I don't care. I use the word. If I was trying to say something, I'd say the word. If I got something to say to you, I say it. Okay, don't worry about it. Did you want to say something else? I said what I said. I'm good. So thank you, folks, for asking me about that. I say what I mean what I say. Hartford Police Department will tell them to send a social worker. Sad thing, Zach says, I could see a liberal judge signing a warrant for something like that. And I know they will. But again, it's going to be interesting watching the Hartford police, or any police department for that matter, suiting up to go arrest the ICE agent. You guys think that you could turn them on each other? You think law enforcement sees themselves as nope. Trust me, they don't. You know nothing about law enforcement if you think those folks don't see each other as brothers. Are you kidding me? Those federal agents and local police? No, not at all. The guys who are in the higher ups, those suits, they may have that back and forth. But the rank and file, no, those are their brothers. You can damn well bet that. Reese, you're putting out too much common sense out there. The powers that be can't grasp it. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you. So we'll wait for Betsy to call in a little bit. I got a press release here. We'll talk about that as well. What she has done, this press release that she released, is something no one has done yet. And most important, the governor of the great state of Connecticut should have done it before her. And she's doing it to show you exactly how inept this guy is. And she should not be stealing this guy's lunch like this. She is stealing and eating his lunch in his face. And when Betsy comes on, we'll talk about it when we return. So stand by for that and much, much more. Mark Christopher's here. He is at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. How we doing, sir? All right, second half of Reese on the Radio underway right here on WTIC News Talk 1080. Stand by. We've got Betsy McCaughey on hold. We're going to pick her up right after we get from the BPS BPS Lawyers Traffic and Weather coming up with Mark Christopher. But just to give you a heads up on what we're going to discuss, Betsy McCaughey did the thing that Governor Lamont should have done, and that is sue Governor Kathy Hochul and the state of New York. Why? Because they are refusing to allow affordable natural gas to be piped into Connecticut. And she put out a press release today. She has filed that lawsuit, and she is going to be here to talk about that. And it should be done, and everybody should be joining her on this. This is not something that you need to poo-poo and dismiss. You had Lamont just yesterday doing some presser talking about, we're going to lower energy prices for you, right? And energy prices for you real soon. We're working on that right now. After all of this time, 2 terms in office, now he's going to get to it. Election time, because we're going to try to lower some cost for you. First we'll give you $200, and then we'll do some other stuff as well. As soon as we figure it out. We will. Well, Kathy Hochul's going to have to help figure it out, thanks to Betsy McCaughey, and we're going to get to her and talk about that much more about that lawsuit and why it needs to be done. So stand by for that. Also, J.B. Pritzker, what he did in the bill, the law he signed in Illinois will absolutely shock you, if not annoy you, probably make you angry, if anything. Stupidest thing I read today, and then we'll get into the Swalwell nonsense, and I've got audio sound bites from that from his former donor, billionaire, who I guess just left sort of abandoned his support for Eric Swalwell, but as it turns out, for the Democrat Party as well. So we'll play the audio of that when we get back. Also, your comments and your phone calls are coming up soon at 860-522-9842. 860-522-9842. Now let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, let's get to the phones right now. Of course, as promised, gubernatorial candidate and will be featured in our debate on May 7th. None other than Betsy McCaughey joins us on the phone. Hello, former Lieutenant Governor. How are you?
Reese, I'm just great. I'm so glad to join you today. It was a big day at the Capitol because I announced that I had slapped a lawsuit on New York Governor Kathy Hochul for violating the Interstate Commerce Clause of the U.S. Constitution.
And you have been talking about this since I've met you. I remember the last time you sat with me, you said that she was violating this Interstate Commerce Clause and something needed to be done about it. In fact, you said on this show that you felt that Lefty Lamont, as you called him, was feckless on this, that he should have filed this lawsuit.
Yes, and then it came to my attention. I thought, why am I waiting till I get elected governor to file this lawsuit? I'm going to file it right now. I have standing as one of the consumers in Connecticut who is paying through the nose 3 times what I should be paying for natural gas because of Kathy Hochul and Lefty Lamont. Lefty refuses to sue his fellow Democrat / progressive or left-wing governor, Hochul, and she and her Department of Environmental Conservation are blocking a pipeline from being built to carry affordable, domestically produced natural gas from the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania across upstate New York into Connecticut. So Connecticut, we have to import natural gas and pay 3 times the price, 300% higher price, because we're importing it from places like Canada and Nicaragua when we could be buying it cheap right from Pennsylvania.
And, of course, you believe that this governor is doing that because of his, I would say, his greenhouse gas sort of, I don't know, I don't even know what it is, his dreams or Green New Deal dreams or his apathy towards natural fuel. I'm sorry?
Let's face it, a lot of it is just old-fashioned partisan bias. He's not going to sue a fellow Democratic governor. If a Republican were doing this, he'd be happy to sue. Look how often his administration is suing Trump. 59 times, I believe, by now.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have done, no, he wouldn't have, even if it was a Republican governor in New York, he wouldn't have sued them over the Interstate Commerce Clause to get fuel up here, because he's against it. He hates natural gas. Right.
So he's making us pay through the nose. 56% of our electricity is made with natural gas. He, of course, wants us to use windmills at 86 cents per kilowatt hour. If you buy energy produced nuclear, it's 4 cents. Fossil fuels may be 30 or 40 cents. He wants us to pay 86 cents per kilowatt hour for wind-powered electricity, and that's why I also like to call him Windbag Lamont. Yeah.
We're on the phone with Betsy McCaughey. Let me read a section of the press release you put out. It says, Laura Sweat chairman of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC, testified to Congress on February 2nd, 2026, that blocking the pipeline is causing New England customers to pay as much as 300% higher rates for natural gas imported from countries such as Canada and Nicaragua, is what your point was. Why didn't that make news here in Connecticut? Because that's, again, it's about us.
Smothered. It's just being smothered. And the fact is, there's no doubt that this is a violation of the Interstate Commerce Clause. The framers of our Constitution wrote the Constitution to prevent states from behaving just the way New York is behaving now, blocking commerce, blocking progress, and it's a clear violation of the United States Constitution. To me, it's very sad that Lefty does not have the guts to sue Hochul and stand up for the consumers of Connecticut.
Yeah, I don't even know what any of the tactics are. Have you been keeping track of what he plans to do for nutmeggers to lower their cost outside of that ridiculous $200 rebate he was giving back to people, to anybody even those who made upwards of $200,000 a year? I mean,
I can tell you that what he's doing right now will double our electric bill. If he is reelected a third time, our electric bills, already unaffordable, will double. And here's why. He is signing contracts right now with those offshore wind generating companies, contracts to pay 86 cents per kilowatt hour, 86 cents. And that is more than double what it costs to generate electricity with natural gas, and about 90 times more than it costs using nuclear.
Yeah, we need to start
but
pressing.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, I know he doesn't.
I don't think he's ever opened his electric bill.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the point that should be pushed by all three of you candidates, at least on the Republican side, if not the Republicans overall in the state, is that here's a guy who keeps talking about affordability, but his answer to that is spending more and more cash and more taxpayer dollars.
And forcing us to pay higher and higher electric bills because of this climate ideology. He's a climate ideologue. But, it's such a shame that he's doing this. I just couldn't see any reason to wait until I'm elected governor. I hear the other candidates say, yes, it's a good idea. We should sue him. But why wait? Right now, we will be facing another terrible winter come November and December. Yeah. Because of these high electric bills. If we start the suit now, maybe we'll get Hochul to back down. After all, she's already relented on one pipeline.
Sure.
Donald Trump has been pushing very hard on that.
Right.
And I know he'd like to see this pipeline built as well. And so I'm just giving him a little nudge. Hey, why not? Give him a little help.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm glad that you filed this. What has the reception been so far? Is there interest in this? Have people been contacting you, calling you, and saying do you believe that this is going to go anywhere further than the press release and the lawsuit itself?
Are you kidding? You can't file a lawsuit in federal court and then just do it for a press release. You got to follow through.
I'm expecting you to. I'm expecting you to.
This cannot be a frivolous lawsuit, and it is not. And judging from the public reaction so far, I'm going to have a lot of fellow plaintiffs before long. I started this out standing alone, but I'm not going to be standing alone for long, Reese. I
believe you. It's so fun. I've talked to so many people, and of course, I cannot say who they are, obviously, because they can't say. But I will tell you, Betsy, every time your name comes up, it's one of two things. They will go, she doesn't have a chance, which are few. But there are more people going, I really like her. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why this is important. You are, as I told you before, you are kicking doors open. There is no peeking your head in and asking if you can come in. You are kicking them open with the things that a lot of people here in Connecticut want done. You may not even be the person they want doing it, but they have to respect, as they say in the hood, they respect your gangster, that you got the guts. No, you have the guts to do the things that we want from other politicians in the state, even those who have already been elected. So I'll just say good on you, and a lot of people respect you for that.
Thank you very much, Reese. And let me just say to the public, everyone who's listening to your very important show, I'm a big fan, to please come to my website, Betsy2026.com, because of the candidates in the race for governor, I am the only one who still needs contributions. If you go to my website and donate, you are going to unlock a $22 million public grant. It's not often that you can make a small donation and have such a big impact, right? People say, what difference does it make what I do, my little donation?
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it's a huge impact because we can unlock that $22 million and really wage a campaign that reaches every voter in the state.
Yeah, indeed. Betsy.
And we got a tight deadline. So if you're listening and you want to lower your electric bill and you want to see somebody who's already fighting for you, even though they're not in office yet, please come to Betsy 2026 and donate. I'm not waiting around. I'm throwing the grenades right now.
There you go. Betsy, thank you. I appreciate your time and good luck to you. We'll be following, of course. Keep us updated on this lawsuit and, of course, your campaign, okay?
Thank you. Your show is a public service.
Thank you. And that's what we try to do. Thank you, Betsy. Betsy McCaughey, ladies and gentlemen, and again, she will be with us on May 7th at Stadium 15 in Farmington, 7 p.m. You can be there, too, for the first of many debates I know that are going to happen in and around the state. You can be there by going to WTIC.com, click on more, click on contest, and put in your information. You and a guest out of 60 will be there live in our studio audience on May 7th at 7 p.m. It'll be also broadcast live on WTIC on the radio station as well. So if you want to get a chance to, please do. She filed the lawsuit. Go look it up. And it says the headline is McCaughey sues Hochul and New York State to allow affordable natural gas to be piped into Connecticut. And someone should be asking Governor Lamont his response to this. Even if he doesn't like Betsy McCaughey, even if he doesn't like Republicans, he should be asked, what do you think about suing Kathy Hochul for violating the Interstate Commerce Clause? Shouldn't it be asked? Oh, who am I kidding? I'll do it myself. What would I ask you guys to do it for? I'll just do it. I was just thinking, look, why would I? That's crazy. I was lit for a minute there. I forgot that I could do it myself. Here I was sitting out there waiting for the press to do the press's job. And I realized that, no, that's my job now. It is. I applaud me. Look at me. I'm such a good advocating for you. Huh. I was going to leave it to the professionals. I'm an idiot. Anyway, Mark says, looking forward to meeting Betsy. Ask her when she's coming to Canton. She's always in Canton, believe that or not, Mark. But when she comes into town soon, I'll let you know. I see the DOJ has filed the lawsuit against New Haven for being a sanctuary city. About time. Yes, they have. Peter says, my girl, we need someone to pull D.C., to pull in D.C. to shine a light on the criminals running Connecticut. Agree with you, Peter B. Oh, that's Peter F. That's Peter F. Thank you, man. Wind turbines are a joke and kill marine animals. And we are paying for it through Eversource public benefits charge. Last First says. Thank you for that one. Let me see what else is in here. Wendy is in the house. How you doing, Wendy? Yeah, Wendy says she she sounds dead serious, and she is. That man won't have the answer. Yeah, he won't have the answer. He's special. That's a good one. When we come back, Eric Swalwell, his donor, has come out and denounced him in, incredible ways. We'll play the audio for that. We'll also play what I'd like to call that aged well. You're not going to believe this audio. And then we've got J.B. Pritzker and his crazy bill that he signed the other day that some people are talking about, but not all. And, of course, your phone calls, if you wish to, at 860-522-WTIC. And we got Stupidest Thing I've Read Today also coming up. And let me say this before we go to break. This is incredible. Yesterday, you guys were calling on the show about the Maryland woman who had the illegal roofers do her fix her roof, and then after they were done, she called ICE on them. And that really got you resonated with you guys. I'm telling you, the truth is that story is over a month old. And I had it there, and I hate leaving stories like sort of on deck, never picking them up. And it's been sitting on my desk for a long time. And I said, man, I got to bring this story up. And I grabbed it and I read it, and you guys responded to it. And something in my head said, do people really care about this story? And you do. So I'm going to find out some more information about the woman and see where it's gone because of your interest. Like I said, I dismissed it just as some sort of throwaway story. But I'll get some more details on it to make sure that you guys are up to date. Also, yeah, Nick's. What's that? What's that? Oh, you mean going to the NCAA game? He was traveling back and forth, so he's not concerned about the interstate commerce clause? Oh, look, I know the guy's out to lunch. Okay, there's nothing I can tell you about Lamont. He's out to lunch on everything. The guy is right now running around on a campaign trail telling people we're working on lowering your energy costs. As if the last two terms don't count. Like that wasn't your job last year or the year before that? When Ryan Fazio fought for transparency on the amount of money people were being charged, you did nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing until you decided to give people $200 as a rebate. And then when that went over like a lead balloon, you're now telling people we're working. We're working. You're still talking about Revolution Wind, which you know is going to charge people more on their electric bills. You have no idea what you're doing. You couldn't keep the Connecticut Sun here. It's a women's basketball team. The only thing you came up with, you were going to use pension money to keep them here. And that got laughed out the door. Goodness gracious. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. That's far more important than this, trust me. Mark Christopher is at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
Yeah, let's do the thing.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today in 2023. Roland, you are going to love this story. A Pennsylvania auto shop owner paid his employee his paycheck. His paycheck was $915. But the Pennsylvania auto shop owner was feeling petty that day. So he decided to pay his employee with 91,500 pennies. And he dumped them into buckets instead of a normal check. That's right. 91,500 oily pennies were paid to his employee. Well, the employee wasn't going out like that. So he sued him. He went to the state labor department and they investigated. And they ended up giving the owner or forcing the owner to pay him not only with a regular check, but also force the employer to pay another $39,930 in penalties and interest for violating wage laws. The department called the stunt unacceptable and stressed that workers must be paid in proper legal tender. The case dragged on for years while the owner fought against the penalties. For $915, it ended up costing him a little over $40,000.
Yikes.
That is the worst. That is the dumbest thing in the world. Just pay the guy. I wouldn't have been that petty.
Yeah, I wouldn't even accepted that.
Can you imagine? First of all, you've got to. How much trouble do you have to go to get 91,000 pennies?
That's a lot of work.
That's a hell of a lot of work. The effort must have been worth $39,930.
Yikes.
That's. I don't even know where you find 91,000 pennies. That is a hell of an ordeal. But yeah, he did it.
He may have already had that and it's saved up for 20 years in his house, just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. You think he probably got it from one of the kids? Hey, why don't you give me that water bucket?
Yeah.
I've got an idea. Yeah, so sure enough. And the fines are just, because that's the part that drives me crazy, is that little stupid stunt would cost me $40,000 after the fact.
Yeah, but that's the
fines.
thing. That's the thing that I try to teach my daughter, my nephews. If you get out into the world and you break a law,
yeah,
you can't be mad at what they throw at you for breaking said law, because they could do whatever they want because you broke the law.
Yeah, don't do the crime if you can't do the time, as they
it's
say.
Madness.
Oh man, let's get a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, he's almost there. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Let's see.
Jump off here.
There he goes.
Okay.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back, and we are in the fold. If you haven't heard, Linda McMahon is going to be calling in on Thursday at 5 p.m. At 4 o'clock, we've got Devon Ward, the Ombudsman for Corrections, will be here live in studio. So we will we'll have both of them on Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We do not have anybody on. We were supposed to have on Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, on yesterday, but they can only do Thursday. So that'll be the case. But she'll be on the phone, and Devon Ward will also be in at 4 o'clock on Thursday as well. Also, if you haven't heard, the 11th Commandment gubernatorial debate for WTIC is now on May 7th. We had to push it back to scheduling issues, but it will be live on May 7th at Stadium 15 in Farmington. If you'd like to be in the studio audience, go to WTIC.com, click on More, and then click on Contest. And you and 60 other winners will win a pair of tickets to that event, which is the WTIC News Talk 1080 11th Commandment Republican Gubernatorial Debate, which is sponsored by AARP Connecticut. Eric Swalwell has decided to resign. We called that before it happened, but he did it just before the end of the show yesterday. And what has transpired after that? I mean, it's as if this story isn't over. 3 women came forward this morning. They were on CBS this morning. Those women, no one is asking the question I asked yesterday. Where were these women during the Epstein argument that was going on for a whole year? This guy had already been accused of a rape, as this woman has alleged, in 2024. All of 2025, we were talking about how we have to listen to the victims and believe the victims, and all victims of people who are victims of people of power. Eric Swalwell was everywhere talking about this. And nothing at all. And Stephen Klobeck, who was his financier for his gubernatorial campaign, Eric Swalwell was staying in his house, but he's since been kicked out of that home. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has gone out. But, Donald just sent me this message about, oh, look, this is affecting Republicans and Democrats. Yes, absolutely. It is. But the question you might be asking yourself is, why is all the attention on Eric Swalwell and not on Representative Gonzalez? Well, that's simple. It was on Gonzalez for a long time. In fact, Lauren Boebert, Representative, also said he is disgusting. Nancy Mace also said he is disgusting, needs to resign. Plenty of women. Anna Paulina said he needs to resign. Talking about Gonzalez. They made it abundantly clear. But the news media, too busy calling those women bimbos, pay no attention. They could have ran with it, but they refused to give those women the spotlight because they're Republicans and the media hates them. Now, don't take my word for it. Just check the record. It's all there because I watched all of them on Capitol Hill saying that they had seen the file and they believed that he should resign. They were calling for his resignation far before anybody was saying anything about the open secret that was Eric Swalwell. But that isn't the reason why Eric Swalwell is getting all the attention now. That's not why. Here is why. You guys act like you don't know? Let me remind you.
Michael Wolff, who has spent a lot of time with Donald Trump and a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein, has reported that the two were very close. And Donald Trump has acknowledged that he and Jeffrey Epstein were very close. He's called him a good guy. Wolff has reporting that at one point Trump had topless underage girls sitting on his lap. If you're Donald Trump, you deserve, if that is not true, to be cleared. That allegation should be cleared. And so if his supporters are not upset that, about the allegation, they may be upset that he is unwilling to clear his own name. So if he indeed did not do that, he should want his own name to be cleared and for these files to be public.
Yeah, I want to be clear. We don't have independent reporting on that.
But he was going around telling everybody that while his own life stank to high heaven. That's why he's the focus. He was on television, anywhere, everywhere, and he was going up against Donald Trump. He was one of the hugest, according to the press, biggest opponents of Donald Trump. He wasn't a real opponent. He was just somebody who got a lot of airtime. That's all.
Speaker McCarthy seems to have singled you out. He says that he had a briefing, as well as former Speaker Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI, and the FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy. Political vengeance seems to be the flavor of the day with the 118th Republican-led Congress.
Kevin McCarthy, even in his press conference on Thursday, continues to say false claims about some members, including Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, who are key members on the Intelligence Committee, saying that because of some allegations, including a false claim that Swalwell was involved with a Chinese spy.
This is all about the vengeance. It has nothing to do with factually what the reality is. These are small-minded, petty people who are now in charge of committees. And if they remove you, it's going to be a huge mistake, and people know it.
My wife does say, don't threaten her with a good time, because I'm going to be home now for more diapers to be changed, school drop-offs.
Swalwell has never been accused of any wrongdoing. The investigation in question revolved around a woman suspected of being a Chinese intelligence operative more than a decade ago. She helped Swalwell with a campaign event, some fundraising.
A very old FBI investigation from 2015. Basically, the FBI notified Swalwell that an associate of his might be a suspected Chinese spy. When he was notified, he broke ties with that person, and then the FBI investigated and nothing ever came of it. This was, 10 years ago now.
I guess they were going to release the files?
Yeah, it's clearly, it's so obviously, he's running for governor, let's release the files. Maybe there's something in the files that will...
I don't want to hear any nonsense about, okay, Reese, we get it, okay, we get it. No. I will not let up. I will not let you cry, uncle.
We'll embarrass him because we couldn't bring a criminal case against him.
He's trying to politicize a report that came out years ago that actually clarified and exonerated Eric Swalwell. Now they want to change that to benefit just, the president's narrative.
Isn't that his best friend, Ruben Gallegos? The guy now who is throwing Eric Swalwell under the bus? I didn't know nothing. He led a double life. Oh, my God, he was so disgusting. Our kids are in band camp together. They were in baseball camp together. We had dinners. We hang out with each other. I was a part of his presidential run back in the day. Oh, my goodness, he led a double life. He was lying to me. Really?
To try to stop Eric Swalwell from being governor. They're going to corrupt the DOJ. They're going to corrupt investigations. They're going to force people, to give up their careers just for his little petty vendetta. And because he doesn't want someone like Donald Trump doesn't want someone like Eric Swalwell to be able to fight him every day.
And they always claim that you were connected to an alleged Chinese spy. Do you feel like you are being especially targeted, that it's
coordinated even with MAGA media almost?
Well, it's because I'm effective.
Republicans called for Representative Eric Swalwell to be removed from the Intelligence Committee, and this was over ties to a suspected Chinese spy.
Representative Swalwell was never in a criminal investigation.
Yeah, that's the reason why the focus is on Eric Swalwell. He is the most public figure. That's why, and because of all of those allegations. Stephen Klubeck was the guy who was pretty much funding Eric Swalwell, feels betrayed by him. He walked up to Eric Swalwell after all of that. I guess the evidence was made clear to him and told him, get the bleep out of my house. He met with Fox 11 in California.
We deserve equal or greater value for our tax dollars. All right? And is it fair enough?
Yeah, I was going to say first, say you're mad. I mean,
mad?
Yeah.
I am no longer a Democrat. I'm now a libertarian Republican because that's what a blue dog Democrat used to be. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's called executing, being accountable, enforcing, respect, responsibility, and results. Knowing what your job description is. Delivering results. Unifying. Making this country great. The great brand we have, okay? Or we used to. Can we get it together, please?
Yeah.
Can we get it together, please? And you know what? When I ran for the governorship, I did it because I couldn't find a candidate that was worthy to back. And I thought Eric had the goods. But he'd tell the truth. Okay?
Do you like any of these other options?
Too early to tell. Okay? Too early to tell. I met him.
Yeah, I'm too early to tell. And what he means is no. Here's more of, what's his name? Stephen Slubeck? Is that his name? That's his name. This is Klubeck. This is more of him. Another part of that interview with Fox 11.
How's your relationship with Eric? Are you guys still friends?
Eric who?
Damn.
Is that clear? Don't bust the trust. You bust the trust, okay? You don't exist in my life. You don't bust the trust. It's all about having integrity. Integrity, okay? I shake your hand, you shake my hand, we make a deal. We work together. We all have to make California the best it can possibly be.
Yeah, that's what he said. Now, you heard the most important part of that piece, Roland, right? It's just my message to you, my friend, as long as you and I work together.
Don't bust the trust.
Don't bust the trust. That's going to be our new slogan.
Don't bust the trust.
Don't bust the trust. Out of nowhere, he just became a blue dog Democrat or a libertarian Republican. I guess you could just do that. But like I said, they are not happy with Eric Swalwell at all. They are done with him. He is over because he was a loudmouth. And this is what I told you, folks. I'm going to reiterate this. People are learning this more and more as they listen to this show. The media propped Eric Swalwell up. Anytime he said, I'll bash Trump, the cameras ran to him. I don't like Trump, and they platformed him. Say something else about Trump. What else are you going to accuse him of today? Every time he asked, he was everywhere. No matter the show, no matter the personality, Eric Swalwell was there. They were covering him. And then other people independent reporters would talk to him. He wouldn't even talk. For a guy who was not shy with about the cameras, independent reporters would walk up to him. He ignored them. When he got busted with a bundler, was talking about hooking him up with tens. He's talking about women. He had no response. That video went viral. He ignored the cameraman and a reporter asking him questions about that. And then all this happens. And the media is done using him. The media makes you, the media will break you. And Eric Swalwell was media made, as all of them are. After a while, when they're no longer useful, they just, poof, they're gone. Poof, just like that, like dust. Swalwell will have, a lot of this dirty stuff will continue to go out, but remember, they've got a guy to focus on, the man they really, really want. That's Donald Trump. They'll get back to him. Swalwell is he's junk food right now. That's what he is. He's their junk food right now. So we'll see. Apparently, a couple of hours from now, another video is going to drop. Anna Paulina said yesterday on Jesse Waters. We'll see what that reveals. Ruben Gallegos is on the hot seat. Find out where that goes. He was the closest guy to him. Many people believe Ruben Gallegos in that video of Eric Swalwell kissing a sex worker in the mouth. Lick a toilet, will you? That's gross. Sorry. I can almost... Nasty. Anyway. Lick an ashtray, why don't you? Oh, gross person. Did you see this? Oh, my goodness. They just put it on. Joe Biden was at some event and just picked up a random black guy in the crowd and said he looked like Obama. Hey, come on up here. Well, black guy. Yeah, come here. You look like Obama. They all look alike. I'm sorry, I got to take a break. All right, when we come back, J.B. Pritzker. What did he do? Let me give you a hint. Do you remember all the COVID violations you had to deal with? When you hear this, you're going to be mad. I'm mad thinking about it. I don't even live in Chicago or in Illinois. It really, really ticks me off. We'll talk about that when we return. Let's get a check of traffic and weather. Music news is coming up next. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, let's do the thing. News. Happy birthday goes out to Win Butler, 46-year-old Arcade Fire frontman. Da Brat, the rapper known as Da Brat, who had her debut 1994 album Functified, turns 52 years old. Can't believe born in 1974 makes you 52. Interesting. Richie Blackmore turns 81. He was born in 1945. He is the Deep Purple and Rainbow guitar legend who was on the song Smoke on the Water. I remember that. You can't forget that song. Tony Burrows turns 84, the British session singer behind massive hits Edison, Lighthouse, Love Grows, and Flower Pot Men, amongst others. Again, turns 84 years old. Popular album chart and anniversaries are 29 years ago, Depeche Mode released Ultra in 1997. 1997 is almost 30 years ago. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. 38 years ago. This is even older, and I'm really freaked out. Public Enemy released It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. That album featured songs like Don't Believe the Hype and, of course, Bring the Noise, which was then remade with the group Anthrax. I heard that yesterday. On a loudspeaker. 46 years ago, Judas Priest, British Steel, was released in 1980. And 53 years ago, Led Zeppelin, Houses of Holy, hits number one on the UK album charts. That is your music news. Mark Christopher is back, and he is getting you home. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. DeBrat's Functified. Can you believe that? DeBrat turns 52 years old.
DeBrat is 52?
He's 52.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation of... I know you know this album. Can you believe that's 38 years old?
Wow.
Public Enemy's the one that had Don't Believe the Hype, which is, by the way, is a great record. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 38 years
That's
ago.
Incredible.
I keep saying to myself, why is it that I remember that like it was yesterday? Or maybe a couple of yesterdays, but not that many yesterdays.
I know the yesterdays come quicker and quicker and quicker, Reese, unfortunately. Trust me.
So
true.
They are just flying by now.
Indeed.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio right here. Give us a call, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. You guys might remember this because it happened here and it happened in a lot of places across the country. COVID is just one of those moments that maybe we're just not so far away from it that we remember it in the sort of sweet by and by, like in the distance, like we did September 11th. You know, we're so beyond the days of September 11th. I think this year will be 25 years. That 25-year anniversary of September 11th. COVID is a different thing. We're still reeling from that in a lot of ways. And September 11th was something we watched happen. COVID was something that happened to us. So there's a personal relationship with what the world, primarily what the country was going through then. And it was under the Biden administration. We had already done a whole bunch of other crazy things as well. But governors and mayors alike across the country in blue states were absolutely reckless. And it is fair to mention that when it comes to Illinois Mayor J.B. Pritzker, who will more than likely run for president in 2028. And I looked this up because I thought this was crazy. Pritzker fined businesses like they were criminals during COVID for defying his orders. In May of 2020, his administration quietly filed an emergency rule making it a Class A misdemeanor up to a $2,500 fine for bars, restaurants, and gyms, salons, etc. to reopen against shutdown rules or fail to enforce mask or social distancing. He tried twice, first for stay-at-home violations, then for masks, and succeeded the second time. Penalties hit the business owner, not customers. He defended it as necessary to protect public health. That is important in this story. But admitted he didn't want to punish regular people directly. This was an executive power on steroids. Over 100 emergency orders total. Republicans sued, calling it an end run around the legislature. Pritzker didn't jail grandma for not masking. He fined the small business that let her in without one. Classic punish the job creators instead of individuals. On vaccine policy specifically, mandates for workers, not criminal penalties for anyone. He required COVID shots for testing, for healthcare workers, state employees, and some others via executive order. When workers use the old Healthcare Right or Conscience Act, he opted out. He signed a new law closing that loophole so that employers could enforce the rules, meaning that job loss or testing requirements to anyone who refused. He didn't put anybody in jail, but he definitely created penalties for those who did not adhere. So when I saw this story, I was like, what a piece of garbage.
We turn down to Illinois after Governor Pritzker signed a new law that decriminalizes spreading HIV. Now, the new policy officially repeals a law that was passed back in 1986. There have been 8 people who were convicted on the law since it was enacted. The AIDS Foundation of Chicago says 80 have been charged, but for that foundation, this is just as much about breaking a stigma.
They called it breaking a stigma. They wish to decriminalize you infecting someone with HIV. No more criminal penalties for that. Don't wear a mask? Fine them. Create laws to make sure you punish that individual. HIV, let them off the hook.
We turn down to Illinois after Governor Pritzker signed a new law that decriminalizes spreading HIV.
I read that. I said, you got to be kidding me. There's no way. And it didn't get national attention. It got none. And I was just going, is this guy crazy? Of all the things, HIV, I mean, now I know that, look, that today, if you get HIV, you can live with it. I get it. But that, is HIV, okay? VD, herpes even. But HIV, we can't, really? And where's the stigma on that? And people still have a apprehension of sleeping with somebody who may have HIV. And if you don't tell someone you sleep with them, like, this is the reason why, hey, I tell you, you got to do your due diligence and you can't go around here sleeping with everybody, you reckless people. Some of you are reckless. And, I don't get it. I find it crazy. Ooh, just, when I was a philandering, horrible person, I did not, just random folks. No, you didn't ask anybody. Never. Just couldn't do it. Nope. I didn't trust anyone. They're all filthy. Ugh. Half of the things that these people do, they're all nasty. You just can't do it. You just can't. You have to be careful. These people have all types of stuff. They do. They're just really, really nasty. Camilla says, it's like that nut job lady in California that says you can call someone a pedo that is criticizing their sexual. Yes, that's right. I remember that. Carmela's spot on point. You're spot on with that one. Yeah, but this dude. To me, that is a heinous crime. But nope. No criminal penalty for that. Just if you're going to infect them, sure, why not? And what if the person finds out too late? What if they find out too late? Somebody's got to pay for that. There has to be a criminal charge for that. Thankfully, there were only 8 people, according to that story, only 8 people have ever been charged. Probably because they were scared to death. And in Chicago, I would imagine it was far more people. But you remember that back in the days? I remember when I was younger that there was this study that said the overwhelming number of women who were being infected, with black women in particular, who were overwhelmingly being infected. And a lot of people were trying to contribute it to the down low brothers. That was the term. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. There was this whole subculture that people talked about in newspapers and magazines. I know the Village Voice in New York talked a lot about it. It wasn't really mainstream. You had to really, really search this particular news report out, but the term was called down low brothers. Yeah, so it was very, very dirty. I know somebody who thinks about, who knows about a little bit about this, and he is who we call the Negropologist. White Mike is in the house. What's up, big A?
Oh, man, guys, so many things have transpired since I've been on the hold.
I know.
Holy cow. Well, first of all, I make a prediction here. I think that the NBA champions are going to be the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
I think that the NBA has ticked off the giant Serbian by not giving him his flowers and making him the overwhelming favorite for MVP. when I don't know what more you need to be MVP besides leading the league in triple doubles and assists and steals.
Who are we talking about?
So, Nikola Jokic.
Oh, yeah, Jokic. Okay.
Jokic is a monster, and they're not giving him any credit. They're talking about Wemby when he has owned Wemby every game they played in.
Okay.
I think Wemby looks stupid. So anyway, let's talk about Eric Swalwell.
Yes.
You're on the right track, but you're not going deep enough.
I'm on the right track with Eric Swalwell on what factor?
Yeah. He was taken out, for sure.
Oh, no, I'm not doubting that. Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
No, I'm not doubting you. I'm not saying you're doubting. I'm saying he was taken out, but it wasn't the media wholly. The Democrat Party got rid of him because he was number 3 in their jungle poll thing, their jungle primary or whatever.
Right.
He was going to be the one leading the Democrats and not getting any votes because the 2 Republicans are going to go.
Right.
If he managed to sneak through, they knew this thing was coming. Like, there's too much independent media now. These women were going to find somebody to talk to, and somebody's going to put that photo out. He was going to be done, and it's more embarrassing for them to have their candidate for governor in the general election having to drop out over a sex scandal, or worse, if he becomes elected governor and then these pictures of him with hookers and apparently underage girls come out. Then the governor of California got to go,
right.
And they'll never get over that.
Yeah. Forget about it. The November elections are over. There's no recovery for them. But let me stop you because there's an important thing you're bringing in here. Okay, so you say the Democrat Party took him out. I know that is something that a lot of people are talking about, but I'm saying that the way that the media has been throwing him under the bus has been he's no longer useful to them. They could have resisted that as much as they could, but I knew he was going to be out no matter what.
Well, dude, Pravda is not going to go against the wishes of the party.
Exactly.
Okay?
And that's an important point.
Pravda.
Right. So
they got told this is going to happen. He's got to go. So they turned on him.
Right. Exactly. But my question to you is this, because I didn't really dive into this, but your opinion I consider, I praise in this arena because I know you're a wonk like I am. If you had to put this at the feet of someone, let me throw out a few names, and if you think it's another person, please tell me. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, or do you believe it was some other anonymous entity?
I think it probably came from higher than that. It came from the head of the DNC.
Ooh.
The DNC said I think they would rather legit lose the race in California to one of these Republicans and then come back strong than have Swalwell become number 2 and get tanked. Or worse yet, get elected. I think they know they're going to lose because California has been destroyed by Democrats, and this thing with L.A. was the final straw.
Right.
The fact that they're not rebuilding Malibu.
Yeah.
And, there's schools of thought. My brother is of the mindset that it's all the communists in L.A. are not developing this because they're going to put, affordable housing in Malibu.
Right.
And that's dumb. They're not going to do that. They're going to sell it to billionaires.
Sure.
Billionaires are going to buy wherever Justin Bieber and the Kardashians lived, that place, and they're going to buy Malibu, and it's going to be the domain of the ultra rich. It's going to be tech wonks and Saudi princes and these people. They're not going to turn it. They're not going to turn it into affordable housing.
Yeah, that's not happening. They're never going to let people have that skyline, or at least
the fact they haven't rebuilt has ticked a lot of people off.
Right.
And when Californians see the reaction of other Californians to this toilet paper warehouse getting burned down, and all these communists showed up and they're like, oh, good thing, stick it to the man. Well, no, dummy, because now they're never going to have a warehouse there again.
That's right.
That's done.
It's
so hard to build stuff in California, they're not going to do it.
Right.
That state's been ruined. It's not an entrepreneurial state. Hollywood doesn't even work in Hollywood anymore. They work in Georgia and overseas.
That's right.
People are losing their jobs. People in entertainment business are losing their jobs in droves.
Do you think, by the way, do you think a Republican taking over California opens up California again, that businesses return, that there's a salvation, if you will, for California? No?
Because he's governor and not king, and the legislature is never going to change.
Maybe. Okay. Quite true. It's quite possible. I understand that.
So the legislature there is, people vote legislators. You're going to have all these liberals who are still there. People vote locally. You're going to have a legislature that's super Democrat, and a Republican will probably just not do anything, or he's going to veto everything.
Yeah, probably.
So you're going to have 4 years and nothing.
Yeah.
But yes, anyway, Nikola Jokic is going to win. Nikola Jokic is going to get MVP.
Okay.
And I don't know who's getting Rookie of the Year, but I really don't have a dog in the fight.
Okay.
Because I'm okay with the two leading guys. If you say that it's Cooper Flagg, that makes sense because he's the next Kobe. But if you tell me it's Con Knuppel, I don't mind. He's an Steph Curry, except he's got an inside game. So I'm fine with both of them. I think it's funny that they're both going to be white, though.
I know that's very important to you. White power. I understand, buddy.
No, it's
I'm
just,
teasing.
it's just to watch the reactions of black people. That's the best part. They can't say anything of either. Look, they say about Flagg, he's the bomb.
Yeah, I hear you.
Jokic makes everybody look stupid.
Yep.
He owned the great French black hope. He made him look dumb in overtime.
Yeah,
he shot over a 7'5" guy 3 times.
Listen, I know the NBA is not what it used to be, and primarily because of all of these, what is it, Serbians now?
Serbians, and you got to come. How much Flagg is from northern Maine? Jesus.
Mike, goodbye. Thank you as always. Very entertaining. You got it, buddy. White Mike, ladies and gentlemen. Always a thrill when he joins the program. He watches the NBA more than some of my friends watch the NBA. Probably for that particular reason. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher's back. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app. Search WTIC News Talk 1080 and tap earlier today to get started.
All right, folks, don't forget, you've got to go to WTIC.com, click on More, and then Contest, so that you can get your chance to be in our live audience at Stadium 15 in Farmington, Connecticut for the WTIC News Talk 1080 11th Commandment Republican gubernatorial debate with candidates vying for the Republican nomination. It is on May 7th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and it will be moderated by myself, Reese on the radio, Brian Shackman, and Morgan Cunningham. And, of course, some other people from WTIC will be there as well, and we hope to see you. 60 people. We have 60 pairs of tickets, but you got to go online at WTIC.com in order to win your chance to be there. Also, if you wish to, I did hear this last week. I meant to mention it, that the folks at Stadium 15 said, please come on by if you want to come in early, and please have dinner at the Stadium 15 to check out their food, or you can look online to check out their menu because they will be expecting you to come and hang out and eat at the place. And then you can walk right across. You don't even have to go outside, but right across to the ballroom area so that you can join us at the event. So if you want to come in early, you can and have a bite to eat. They are excited to have you there. This is, let me see if I can get Pete, where's he calling from? What town is that? Highway. Okay. Pete, is he calling from the highway? Is he calling from a highway? I don't know. How you doing, Pete?
I'm all right. I was on 84.
Oh, okay.
in beautiful Waterbury, Connecticut. Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I wanted to call you and bring something up. I just got to ask you, do you love your kids?
Sure. I mean, they're grown now, but.
Yeah. You love your kids. You love your family. You love, your friends and all. So I think we should start talking about something a little bit more important than these people in Congress doing whatever they're doing with their people, whatever, privately. I don't care. Let's start talking about what they're spraying up in the skies with the chemtrails, because that crap is filling up our skies. And years ago, we had beautiful blue skies when you were kids, remember? Mm-hmm. Now what's going on? What is going on with that stuff?
Isn't Lee Zeldin, he put out a presser, I want to say 2 months ago, directly answering that question about chemtrails. So the last I heard, he is actually on that because there were plenty of requests asking this administration to talk about that. Did you not see that, or is that I don't know if that sort of missed your feed, but he is talking about it.
Maybe it missed me. But so what are they saying about it?
Well, they're saying that he and the EPA are investigating that usage. In fact, they say that they're no longer going to do those chemtrails until they have more information about it.
Oh, my God. Wow, just what a crazy world we're living in, man.
Hey, look, I'm just happy that they're doing something about it that they've never done before, because I kind of found like your request, as many others, have sort of falling on deaf ears, but they're paying attention to it now, and that's a good thing, right?
Well, let's see what comes of it, because it ain't a good thing.
I hear you, buddy.
There.
I hear you. Thank you, Petey. I appreciate it. Let's get into another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
I gotta say, I don't. Boris sent me this very lengthy piece on chemtrails. Like, I am never going to get through this before the end of the show, but thank you nonetheless. I'm sure it's for the other viewers. We're going to get up out of here soon. I'll get to the phones. If you wish to call, it's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Let me see. Why the intentional diversionary tactics by the caller driving through Waterbury instead of talking about I don't know. I don't understand. How do I put this? Saying what we need to talk about. I didn't understand that, and there are people who say that. I didn't get that. I haven't received a call like that in a long time, where somebody said, "Well, we need to talk about is it." And the objective is to call and ask the question, and then I'd love to have a conversation. I don't think anything's ever considered off limits. I know there's some people who used to call in and always tried to direct the conversation. I want to talk about this, that, or I kind of put that to an end. This is the reason why I sort of cut down on the phone calls and left it towards the latter part of the show, because I didn't want anybody to take us off the. I love producing a show about the things I want to talk about, all right? Especially diving into Connecticut politics. I want to make it Connecticut heavy, and then throw in a little bit of national stuff. Of course, the big news items that are out there. So I don't take that personally. Anyway, on tomorrow's program, we've got no guest. Thursday, we've got Linda McMahon, which I'm very excited about. Thank you, Adam 12, making that happen. Linda McMahon, Education Secretary Linda McMahon, Connecticut's own Linda McMahon, will be on the program. She's calling in on Thursday. We got Devon Ward, who will also be here on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Mark from West Hartford will be here as well. He and I will Wednesday. Tomorrow. That's right. Look at that. It all worked out. We have a day game tomorrow. That game starts at 1:45. Is it? Oh, wow. I thought it was 12:40. Okay. All right. So it's at 1:40. So we'll be online most of tomorrow. So you can catch us, of course, at WTIC.com, the Odyssey app, or ReeseOnTheRadio.com, which, again, the format will be different. It is 1:45, huh? Okay. So that means we'll be back on regular airwaves roughly about 5 o'clock. So we have that. So maybe it was better that everybody pushed to Thursday. That makes sense now. So now we don't have any interference. Anyway, back to what I was saying on tomorrow's show. We had a couple of items we didn't get into today, and I want to talk about one, and that was Joe Biden's Department of Justice and what they were doing to pro-life activists at the DOJ. That report came out in the New York Post today. Many of you missed it. In fact, it really didn't get a lot of attention in the news today for obvious reasons. But I want to talk about that tomorrow, because what they did was absolutely reprehensible, but just it flies in the face of these people who always want to debate about judges and the courts. And you think about this. The DOJ was manipulating voir dire proceedings. For those of you who are not familiar with that, that is jury selection. They were manipulating cases against pro-life folks and interfering with voir dire, picking juries, making sure any Christians or pro-lifers, in essence, you don't have a jury of your peers. in cases against you, while they were also working to penalize pro-life activists harsher than they would pro-abortion groups. And there's documents, there's over 700,000 documents that were released. And you hear these people talking about, but the court said, but the judges did, and the lawyers said, and these people were manipulating it. This is your government doing that. And I want to talk about what they were doing tomorrow. That's why when I listen to these folks, I don't care who they are. They manipulate these courtrooms because it is a criminal justice business. That's what it is. It is politicized. Nothing is real anymore. And these people have the power to bury you. And that's why it's got to be exposed. So we'll get into all of that. Craig says, Reese want a personal tour of one of the biggest a tour of one of the biggest state-of-the-art heavy truck dealerships in the country. Maybe ride in a sleeper. Absolutely, I would love to. Without a doubt. Please let me know. I'd be happy to go. So, we've got that tomorrow. I know there was another story that I didn't get into. I can't think of what it is. You know what? Let me just grab the stack. It's just better if I just grab the stack and go through it. Because we didn't, let me see, I got that. DOJ weaponizes the courts. Mainstream. Oh, yes, I've got to talk about this tomorrow. Yesterday, I was talking about this Pope Leo thing, pushing back against the Trump administration. Now people are talking about this, even on CNN, that David Axelrod went to go meet with the Pope. And all of a sudden, he's writing these missives about Donald Trump and the war in Iran. And I got into this long conversation today about this. What is it all about? And I knew it. I have so many details on this about why Pope Leo is doing it. It's the same reason Pope Francis was doing it when he was around, before he got sick. And that was trying to salvage the reputation of the Catholic Church. And let me start by saying this, because this is important to note. In my conversation today, I was talking about it. Do you know that there is a report that says, that I have this all the way in the way, there is a report that says more and more young people are following faith, finding themselves to church and to Jesus Christ. I think Lawrence Jones has a Fox Nation episode about it as well. And this has been going on like crazy. But the thing that they're not mentioning is where these young people are going. I want you to think about it. People are returning to the church, but not to the Catholic Archdiocese. They are more or less going to evangelical Christian places, spiritual worship places. They have bands, they have music. It's very, I don't know, Burning Man. No, I'm kidding. You know what it is? It's very celebratory. It is not traditional Catholic church. You know, I think it was Bill Burr that they used to mock that. It was like, repeat after me, I'll repeat after you. You know, sit down, stand up, take from the Eucharist. You know, that kind of thing is very, very, very standard. Where these other churches are very praise, hands up in the air, swaying to the music. They're guys with electric guitars and keyboards, and they're jamming out. Some of the songs are very poppy, R&B-ish even. My church is very much like that. And our band, I have to say, that our worship team, they get down. And everybody's singing along and they're raising their hands. It's very spiritual. That is the church they are going to, not Pope Leo's church. That is not on the rise. Why? Because those churches are condemned in the court of public opinion. What does the political class say about traditional Catholic and Christian religion. They called them Christian nationalists. And their biggest problem with that is the Christian faith is that they are immediately associated with Donald Trump. This is a bad rap. They don't want it. So now they're being advised by the likes of David Axelrod, you got to change your image. And you can help us if you can get if you could get traditional Christians to abandon Donald Trump. See, if you abandon him, the rest will follow. You want to get that moniker of Christian nationalist off your back? We'll help you. And that's what Pope Leo did. Pope Leo immediately started bashing Donald Trump. He was, of course, seen to be kind of silly and reckless in his condemnation of the President of the United States because a lot of people noticed didn't seem to admonish the mullahs or the Ayatollah for killing his own citizens before the war effort ever took on. So it looks shady. But it's always political, and Francis did it too. And the popes are trying to save their necks, but it helps the Democrat Party. It says if you bash Trump, Catholics will follow. Because they knew that calling them, Christian nationalists wasn't working. Especially when you have young people going to the evangelical faith, people who are joining these other churches, these very spiritual churches, who are finding God, finding conservatism, following Charlie Kirk. Those things, they can't combat that. So they're going after traditional Catholics. That's what's happening. Boris says, we follow Jesus. We follow as we are led. What's the name of the show? It's called the Bridge Community. But that's what all of this is about. I keep trying to explain to people that it's not as simple as you think. And so I want to talk about that because there's evidence of this throughout the years, that this is more of an effort by the left and the political class to get Pope Leo to turn on Donald Trump. It's no different than what they did with Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, George W. Bush. These people care more about their legacies than they care about what's right or wrong. And that's why it's happening. You want us to stop bashing you in the press? Join us. And just like the hive mind that all of these people are, there you have it. So we'll break all that down. We'll talk about some of the details in it tomorrow. As I said, Linda McMahon on Thursday, Devon Ward also on Thursday. Mark of West Hartford will be here as well. So stand by for all of that. And tomorrow we've got baseball. Will be preempted. Real quick, let me take Stevie V before I get out of here. Hello, Stevie.
Hey, next thing you know, they're going to be saying Jesus ruined Christmas.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, there's no chemtrails. That's just something that started with Coast to Coast AM. They've been going on ever since day one with jets and stuff. People think there's more now because there's more air traffic in the sky. Mm-hmm. But it's just. Are you old enough to remember the sonic booms?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they stopped that because of going over the United States because they used to rattle windows and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of the conspiracies that if anybody thinks about it, they're not going to put chemicals in those jet engines, and if they're seeding clouds, which they do, they're going to bring that at a lower level. And that is real seeding clouds.
Well, I'll have to look into Zeldin's investigation into that because I know, look, they asked this administration to look into it. He put out a video promising that he would get to the bottom of it. We'll see where it wins because I just heard about that a couple of months ago, and I never heard a follow-up or anyone ask about a follow-up. I think most people were just happy that he had considered them,
I think it's just kind of like a smoke and mirror type thing. Look over here while we're doing this over there.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Be good, brother.
You got it. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. online. As the Red Sox play, I don't know who they're playing. But anyway, you can catch us there. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, sir.